When Jingjun tries to drink soda, Xiaolin quickly stops him. Yoonjae never drinks carbonated drinks. She tells him to take good care of Yoonjae's body until the swap is complete. Seeing a wound on Yoonjae's hand, Xiaolin warms it with her breath out of concern, making Jingjun feel awkward and uncomfortable. He quietly returns to the room to rest. Later, Xiaolin opens the fridge and finds it full of soda and vegetarian pizza, letting out a long sigh. The next morning, Jingjun is thrilled he doesn't have to attend school now that he's 30. Xiaolin assumes he made breakfast, but finds that all the soda has been replaced with juice and yogurt. She visits Jingjun's real body in the hospital, tightly holding his hand, whispering, "Yoonjae, you must be in there." But no one knows where Yoonjae's soul has gone. Xiaolin hopes he's still inside Jingjun so they can switch back someday. Since they've swapped bodies and Jingjun doesn't know Yoonjae's habits, he eats the wrong food and has an allergic reaction. Xiaolin, meanwhile, is in a school meeting when suddenly Jingjun crashes in via taxi, leading to a ridiculous scene. Yoonjae's body is allergic to mushrooms, and the pizza had mushrooms, causing extreme itching. Because of this, Xiaolin is harshly scolded by the vice principal, who even questions whether Yoonjae is mentally stable. Xiaolin bows again and again, apologizing to her colleagues, while Jingjun explains he barged in only because he had no cash. After arriving at school, Xiaolin, still feeling low, quietly gave Jingjun some cash and reminded him to eat and take his medicine properly. Jingjun said he wouldn't have troubled her if he had found his wallet. Noticing something off with Xiaolin, he asked if she had been badly scolded. Xiaolin said she felt very sad. Yoonjae was so handsome and steady, yet today people were calling him a fool for no reason. Jingjun felt embarrassed hearing that. Xiaolin told him to go home and not wander around again, but Jingjun rebelliously said she didn't need to worry, he could take care of himself. Soon, he arrived at the hospital and asked for Jiang Jingjun's room number. Just as he turned around, Xiaolin's father appeared. While waiting for the elevator, her father spotted Jingjun and mistook him for Yoonjae, greeting him warmly, but Jingjun didn't recognize him at all and just walked into the elevator, leaving Xiaolin's father utterly confused. Later, Xiaolin got a call from her dad, who said Yoonjae seemed like a completely different person. He even ignored his greeting. This made Xiaolin extremely nervous. Jingjun had no idea that this hospital was where Yoonjae actually worked. Inside, everyone greeted him politely, but Jingjun looked terrified, as if he had seen ghosts. That's when he saw a giant promotional poster of Yoonjae and finally realized Yoonjae was a doctor here. Just as he was trying to escape the hospital, he ran into Yoonjae's coworkers, who, assuming he was Yoonjae, asked why he was dressed so casually. Jingjun didn't recognize any of them and tried to pretend he was feeling unwell to leave, but Jinlian grabbed his arm. He explained he'd eaten mushrooms and quickly fled, but Jinlian called after him and even held his hand. Her touch shocked him. Right then, Xiaolin arrived at the hospital and quickly dragged Jingjun away, scolding him for running off. Jingjun explained he didn't know Yoonjae worked here and that he was just looking for something important. Xiaolin made him wear Yoonjae's work clothes, but Jingjun nervously told her that Jinlian had touched him. It felt very strange, and he was sure there was something wrong with her. But the sweet and naive Xiaolin brushed it off, calling him just a kid who overthinks everything. Later, Jingjun lay on Yoonjae's break room bed. Xiaolin asked for his hand, and though he hesitated, she grabbed it tightly, saying it wasn't warm because the soul inside wasn't Yoonjae's. Jingjun pulled back and said good. He liked being the cool version of himself. Xiaolin reached out to pull him up, but as he reached back, he suddenly remembered how Yoonjae saved him in the river. They rushed to his hospital room, and Xiaolin guessed that maybe the soul swap had happened when they held hands. She wanted to try again. When they clasped hands tightly, a violent whirlwind blew through, messing up their hair. It seemed that switching souls needed special conditions. Xiaolin stared at Jingjun hopefully. Just then, his expression suddenly changed, and she believed a miracle had happened. But it was just Jingjun joking. Xiaolin cried and asked if he thought this was funny, then sadly walked out. Jingjun was about to search for his wallet when his uncle and aunt suddenly appeared. They thought he was just a doctor doing rounds. His aunt asked if Jiang Jingjun might never wake up. The uncle tried to reassure her, but Jingjun saw everything. When asked what if he never wakes up, Jingjun asked back, "What would you do?" His aunt claimed they were only watching on behalf of relatives, and any issues should be brought to the family. Hearing this made Jingjun see through their true nature. His aunt even threw away his phone and wallet. As he walked out, he saw Xiaolin standing by the door. She had heard everything. She felt heartbroken for this mature yet unloved young man, but Jingjun, now rough in this new body, pushed her away. Just then, Xiaolin's younger brother came and saw her being pushed. He angrily questioned his brother-in-law for doing that. Jingjun, frustrated, tried to leave, but the brother grabbed him. Jingjun finally said bluntly, "I'm not your brother-in-law," which totally confused the boy. They nearly got into a fight. Jingjun returned to the hospital room to find his wallet, hoping to retrieve a special photo, but the trash had already been taken out. He looked at his unconscious body and vowed not to give up. At least he still had his mother's inheritance in the short term. Back home, he noticed a bag hanging by the door. It had the discarded clothes and wallet. Inside the wallet, he found the cherished photo and smiled with joy. He also discovered a box of dumplings labeled Jin Family Dumplings and realized it must be from Xiaolan, whose full name was Jin Erlan. Meanwhile, Xiaolan was being questioned by her father and brother. Did she mess up the wedding? Why did Yoonjae say he wasn't her brother's brother-in-law. Why wasn't she answering her dad's calls? Xiaolan was speechless, unable to explain that only she knew the truth, that Jingjun's soul was inside Yoonjae's body. Just then, Jingjun arrived at Xiaolan's door while she was scratching herself. Her mother pulled him inside, completely catching him off guard. He had never seen such chaos. His soul in another man's body, now pulled into his own fiancé's home. Xiaolan was panicking. Jingjun explained her mom had dragged him in and he was about to leave, but Xiaolan stopped him. Since it had already started, she said, they had to keep pretending. Her brother believed that Yoonjae showing up proved the wedding was still on. During dinner, the spicy food made Jingjun squeal like a pig. Xiaolan anxiously hushed him. Then, their father brought out beer to cool the spice, but Xiaolan, knowing Jingjun was still a student, didn't want him to drink. A tug of war over the beer broke out. As they left, Xiaolan apologized for making Jingjun pretend to be Yoonjae, but Jingjun said it was okay and even thanked her for helping him recover his wallet. He asked if he could now go fill it with money. To solve the problem of tight clothes that were about to burst, Xiaolan brought Jingjun to Yoonjae's home and let him pick out some clothes to wear. But just as he was changing, Xiaolan walked in and was stunned by Yoonjae's perfect body. While Jingjun was packing up the clothes, something like an earbud fell out, and when he asked Xiaolan what it was, she guessed it might be a key to their wedding house. Just then, the house phone rang. It was none other than the infamous Jinlian, saying she had something to deliver and was already downstairs. After hanging up, Jingjun asked Xiaolan if she planned to go to work in Yoonjae's place, but she said absolutely not and that she would just take a long leave instead. While inside the room, Xiaolan noticed a suitcase and curiously opened it, only to find Yoonjae's passport. This was how she discovered he had plans to go abroad. Jinlian soon arrived downstairs, and shockingly, she also had an item identical to the one Jingjun had just found. When Jingjun went down to meet her, Jinlian tried to kiss him, scaring him into pushing her away. Unexpectedly, she said, "I love you," and Xiaolan arrived just in time, but luckily didn't hear it. Jinlian then tried to send Xiaolan away to be alone with Jingjun, and the innocent Xiaolan actually listened, but Jingjun saw through her intentions and stopped Xiaolan while telling Jinlian to get lost. He then boldly picked up Xiaolan and carried her home in front of everyone. Back home, Jingjun angrily told Xiaolan that Yoonjae was a jerk who had been cheating on her, but Xiaolan refused to believe it. As Jingjun was carrying a suitcase downstairs, he was shocked to find Jinlian still there. Wanting to have a serious talk with her, they went to their usual hangout. When Jinlian downed a glass of alcohol in one shot, Jingjun thought it was only 3% alcohol and followed her lead, then nearly cried from the burn. After more than 10 rounds of drinking, he declared that he was going to marry Xiaolan and would never like anyone else again. As he got up to leave, he collapsed on the floor. The next morning, he woke up in Jinlian's room and quickly got dressed, only to find a note on the door. To investigate Yoonjae and Jinlian's relationship, Jingjun returned to Yoonji's house and opened the suitcase again, finding Yoonji's passport, and suddenly a bold idea popped into his head. He wanted to leave Korea. Just as he bought the plane ticket, he got a text from Mary, a passionate admirer. To his horror, Mary had flown in from the US, found his school, and even tracked down Xiaolan's information. Terrified, Jingjun rushed back to the school. Mary soon found Xiaolan and showed her a photo, making it clear she was there for Jingjun. Xiaolan was about to respond, but Yoonjae, still with Jingjun's soul, stopped her. Mary pushed his hand away and asked, "Who are you?" Yoonjae explained she was a friend of Jiang Jingjun. Turns out Mary's father and Jingjun's mother were going to marry, but because of Mary, Jingjun's mother had died. Mary was truly worried about Jingjun, but Yoonjae told her to go back first, and Jingjun would call her later. Shangji spotted Mary and, seeing her about to leave the school, grabbed a pen from a classmate and started spinning and leaping through the stairwell, jumping over the school wall, racing like a rocket to the gate. Then, using the cheesiest pickup line, she wrote her phone number on Mary's Hermes bag and said she'd treat her to pizza, completely unaware Mary wasn't interested. That day, Xiaolan and Jingjun visited the hospital to request leave and bumped into colleagues and Jinlian on their way out, arranging to have drinks that evening. At the bar, Jinlian kept provoking Xiaolan, claiming it couldn't have been love at first sight. Unable to stand it, Jingjun began praising Xiaolan, saying he fell for her at first glance. Xiaolan was overjoyed hearing that. Jingjun questioned if Xiaolan had ever kissed Yoonjae, and without warning, kissed her himself. Xiaolan was stunned and kicked him furiously, yelling, "You're not Yoonjae, how dare you kiss me?" Jingjun replied, "It's Yoonjae's body, what does it matter?" Meanwhile, Mary arranged to meet Shangji and learned about Jingjun's accident. She rushed to the hospital and, seeing no reaction from Jingjun's body, slapped him so hard that Shangji nearly died from the shock. But Mary truly cared. Shangji explained that Xiaolan was her sister and Yoonjae was her brother-in-law and a doctor at the hospital. Mary remembered what Jingjun had said at school and texted his phone. Yoonjae received the message and, wanting her to return to the US soon, replied to her, but Mary responded with a couple's photo. Jingjun and Xiaolan rushed to the hospital, and Jingjun planned to emotionally break Mary, knowing she wouldn't give up on him. As Mary leaned in for a kiss to try to wake him, Jingjun stopped her just in time. She angrily asked why he lied to her, and Yoonjae said his heart already belonged to someone else, then pointed at Xiaolan and listed all the proof. But Mary refused to give up and decided to stay until Jiang Jingjun woke up. To avoid worrying Yoonjae Yoonjae's mom, Xiaolin asked Jingjun to call her. They learned she was returning to the country and planned to meet on a specific day. Using Yoonjae's phone password, they found the date, June 24th, which also happened to be Jingjun's birthday. Was this just a coincidence? Back home, after a tough inner struggle, Xiaolin opened Yoonjae's message box and discovered Jinlian had been frequently messaging him. Just then, Jinlian returned to the apartment and found the key Jingjun had dropped. She began to wonder what had happened to Yoonjae. The next morning, Jingjun woke up to find his uncle visiting and quickly hid. He later found Xiaolan and said he might have to live in their wedding house now. Xiaolan was reluctant at first, but Jingjun explained that his uncle would keep looking for him, so she agreed. They went out to buy items for the new house, but when Jingjun returned, he found his bed had been thrown out by his uncle. That bed was a gift from his mother and very dear to him. Meanwhile, Xiaolan was at the real estate office, waiting for Jingjun to come sign the contract. It suddenly began to pour rain, and Jingjun rushed outside to rescue his beloved bed, dragging it back with great effort, while Xiaolan kept calling him but couldn't get through. When Xiaolan arrived at Jingjun's home to scold him, she was shocked to find him soaked in rain and burning with a high fever, and all his clothes had been thrown away by his uncle. She quickly brought over supplies meant for their wedding house and began caring for him meticulously, even preparing dinner and medicine, drawing them closer again. The next day, Jingjun put on a sharp suit and withdrew all of Yoonjae's savings. Xiaolan, getting a message notification, discovered in shock that Jingjun had withdrawn 900 million won. It turned out he planned to use Yoonjae's identity to buy back his own house. By the time Xiaolan rushed over, the process was already complete. She furiously kicked Jingjun out of the house, but by nightfall, her heart softened and she forgave him. Jinlian arranged to meet Yoonjae and showed him a key, asking if he had left it behind while drunk. Jingjun then realized it was the key to Jinlian's home. When she gave it to Yoonjae, he hadn't rejected it, leading her to believe he had feelings for her. But after today, Jinlian finally understood and walked away. When Jingjun returned home, Xiaolan asked where the key came from. He wanted to tell her the truth, but didn't want to upset her, so he said the key was broken and threw it away. That night, as Xiaolan's family left together, her parents' conversation reminded her of the message Jinlian had sent Yoonjae and the key Jingjun threw out, prompting her to rush back. Sensing something wrong with her sister, she called Jingjun. When he reached the front door, he noticed the trash bag with the key had been disturbed. And at the same moment, Xiaolan was about to open the door with that very key, but Jingjun arrived just in time to stop her. He picked her up and carried her away. Xiaolan still wanted to confirm the truth, but before she could go back, Jinlian appeared holding the key, confirming everything. Xiaolan then searched Yoonjae's office and found an international flight ticket, making her more convinced something was wrong. Later, Jinlian told Xiaolan that Yoonjae had hit her with his car by accident after overhearing her breakup with her ex, and that's how they got close. But Xiaolan didn't believe a word, and for the first time, lost her temper and cursed her out before leaving. Soon after, Jinlian called Yoonjae's mom and revealed the car accident. As soon as the call ended, Yoonjae's mom asked her secretary to book a flight back to Korea. The next day, Xiaolan asked Jingjun to help her just once. Tomorrow was her wedding photo shoot. On the day of the shoot, Xiaolan wore her wedding gown and Jingjun was completely mesmerized. After the pictures were taken, Jingjun suggested they register for marriage, but Xiaolan refused, saying she didn't want to marry. She explained that Yoonjae was a good man, and she understood he had bought the flight ticket because he didn't want to hurt her. Jingjun asked why she bothered taking the wedding photos if they weren't going to marry. Xiaolan said she wanted a memory. Jingjun grumbled that she only thought about Yoonjae and reminded her that he, Jiang Jingjun, was the one who spent the entire day with her. Xiaolan sincerely thanked him, and just as the photographer asked for one last picture, Jingjun said, "If it's for memories, let's make it special," then suddenly kissed her. Learning this, Shangji believed Yoonjae had wronged his sister and rushed in to beat him up. Everyone quickly held him back so Jingjun could escape. Xiaolan asked him to go abroad for now and let her handle the rest. Jingjun, worried, visited Xiaolan's home the next day. Her father questioned what he had done, and Jingjun pulled out a stack of glossy business cards from his waistband. Xiaolan's mom nearly fainted at the sight. Whether they marry or not, Xiaolan said, she would decide. She asked where he got the cards. He said he found them on the street. Yoonjae's mom soon returned to Korea and held her son tightly, but quickly noticed something wasn't right. She said since he had taken such a long leave, he should come abroad with her. Jingjun, realizing he couldn't keep up the act in front of Yoonjae's mom, proposed marrying Xiaolan so he could stay and find a way to wake up his real body. Secretly, Jingjun snuck out his unconscious body, drove to the accident site, and hit the brakes sharply, hoping a miracle might happen to bring the soul back, but nothing did. When he returned to the hospital, everyone was in a panic looking for Jingjun. Mary demanded to know where he had taken him. He explained he was trying to find a way to revive him, while Xiaolan looked at him thoughtfully. Jingjun met with Yoonjae's mom and claimed he'd lost all memory. Though she still wanted to take him abroad, Jingjun eventually told Xiaolan he would leave the country for a year to train and grow capable enough to take on Yoonjae's job. He promised to marry her upon returning. Before leaving, he found Mary, retrieved his most precious photo, and asked her to take care of his comatose body. As he tapped his head in his usual way, Mary suddenly remembered Jingjun used to do the same, and her cheeks blushed. After Yoonjae's departure, the wedding was naturally canceled, disappointing Xiaolan's family. A year passed. Xiaolan attended a friend's wedding and unexpectedly ran into Jingjun at the elevator. She asked why he hadn't contacted her, but he didn't answer directly. His demeanor, however, was exactly like Yoonjae's. He had changed so much. At the banquet, he even held her hand and left in front of everyone. Her friends assumed they were back together. Xiaolan asked why he did that. Jingjun said Yoonjae's mom kept pressuring him to marry. She had even reached out to Jinlian, asking her to win Yoonjae's heart. Jinlian, Yoonjae's university classmate, said she loved him and would make the most of this chance. After a year of focused training, Jingjun, using his genius brain, had become fully capable of handling Yoonjae's doctor duties. The only obstacle left was his fear of risk. The next day, Jingjun visited Xiaolan's school under the pretense of checking Jingjun's academic status. But in truth, he was helping Xiaolan regain her dignity. Ever since the wedding was canceled, people believed she'd been dumped and constantly made fun of her. That night, Jinlian came to Jingjun's house and ran into Xiaolan packing her luggage. Xiaolan bluntly told Jinlian that inside Yoonjae's body lived an 18-year-old boy and that he had become very immature. But Jinlian wasn't willing to give up on Yoonjae, so Xiaolan furiously kicked her out. Just as she was being thrown out, during their honeymoon trip, Yoonjae's mother asked what was really going on and soon discovered it all revolved around Jiang Jingjun. Just hearing that name stirred something in her. So she quickly called Yoonjae's father to confirm and was shocked to find that Jingjun was the very child they had been looking for. But instead of relief, she became furious. Moments later, Yoonjae's mother visited Jiang Jingjun's hospital room, saying she hadn't even seen him when he was born, and now they were meeting like this. It hurt her deeply, and with a pained expression, she quickly walked away. The next day, she found Yoonjae and asked about Jingjun. But since Jingjun's soul was still inside Yoonjae's body, he was completely clueless. She explained that Yoonjae had always been looking for someone, and she didn't want him to ever meet that person. Jingjun said he had no memory of the past, which made her feel relieved. That same day, Jinlian came to visit Yoonjae's mother and accidentally overheard that Jiang Jingjun wasn't her son. She clearly stated that she only had one son, Yoonjae, and that Jingjun was only born to save Yoonjae. To reconcile with Xiaolan, Jingjun invited her to a show, but just as they were about to leave, Mary intercepted them and said Yoonjae's soul was actually Jingjun's, forcefully swapping out their show tickets with movie tickets. Meanwhile, Jingjun took Yoonjae's old CD player, which he had saved for Xiaolan, and went to get it repaired, hoping to surprise her. But when evening came, it was Mary who showed up instead. He quickly made up an excuse to leave, but Mary began suspecting he had fallen for Xiaolan. Xiaolan arrived alone at the cinema, but thanks to the script's arrangement, Jingjun also appeared soon after. Seeing him made Xiaolan happy, and when Jingjun said if she ever started liking him, he wouldn't have the strength to reject her heart wavered. Meanwhile, Jinlian sat with Yoonjae's mother, sharing everything she knew about Jiang Jingjun. Yoonjae's mother asked her to notify her immediately if anything new came up, which made Jinlian extremely curious. She noticed a comb Yoonjae's mother had used and secretly took a hair strand from it, asking a colleague to help conduct a DNA test. The results revealed that Yoonjae's mother was actually Jiang Jingjun's biological mother. Jinlian then asked Jingjun's aunt whether Jingjun was adopted, but the aunt firmly denied it. Around the same time, Yoonjae's father returned to Korea and met with Professor Park, who revealed that Yoonjae had visited him the previous year to ask about Jingjun. Looking at a painting of two children, Professor Park confirmed one of them was Yoonjae, the other was Jingjun. That night, Jingjun felt his soul return to his original body. Mary got the news and rushed to the hospital, while Xiaolan, after getting Mary's call, sprinted back home only to find Jingjun collapsed on the floor. After he regained consciousness, he told Xiaolan that he was Jiang Jingjun. Yoonjae still hadn't come back. Xiaolan locked herself in the room, crying, convinced she had gone mad because she no longer knew whether her heart belonged to Jingjun or Yoonjae. Seeing her pain, Jingjun said he too hoped the soul exchange would end soon. Jinlian met again with Yoonjae's mother and asked directly, "Is Jingjun your son?" and stated that the person Yoonjae had been searching for all along was Jingjun, his younger brother. Yoonjae's mother finally confessed that when Yoonjae was 12, he suffered from a serious illness that could only be cured with a sibling donor. Since her own body could no longer bear children, she asked her husband and another woman, Jingjun's mother, to have a child together. In other words, Jingjun was born just to save Yoonjae. Jinlian insisted Yoonjae should know the truth, but Yoonjae's mother begged her not to interfere, saying she didn't want any connection between them. She even warned Yoonjae's father never to mention Jingjun for fear that Yoonjae might find out the truth, that Jingjun was his brother. But little did they know, Yoonjae's body was already hosting Jingjun's soul. Soon, Jingjun and Xiaolan went to a hotel to meet Yoonjae's parents. When Jingjun met Yoonjae's father for the first time, he felt a deep unfamiliarity, though he tried to hide it. Back in the hotel room, Jingjun saw a book by Professor Park and remembered what Mary had said, that according to her father's investigation, Professor Park might be Jingjun's real father. Just as Yoonjae's dad picked up the book, a photo of Jingjun's mother slipped out. Jingjun picked it up, but unaware of its significance, simply placed it back, missing the truth by a heartbeat. Later, using Yoonjae's Yoonjae's identity, Jingjun had the rights to his mother's inheritance changed from his uncle's name to Soo Yoonjae, so he could access it, an amount totaling $4.5 million. The next day, Jingjun and Xiaolan attended Professor Park's art exhibition, hoping to uncover his origins. When Yoonjae's mother learned they were at the exhibition, she told Xiaolan to get Jingjun out immediately, but Jingjun grabbed the phone and hung up. They met Professor Park, who started asking about Jiang Jingjun's background. At that critical moment, Yoonjae's mother appeared and pulled Jingjun away. The professor told Xiaolan to pass a message to Yoonjae that he had nothing more to say about Jiang Jingjun. It turned out Yoonjae's father had warned him in advance. The professor also told Xiaolan that he had played a part in arranging their marriage. Apparently, when Yoonjae had rushed to meet him, he accidentally knocked Xiaolan down, and that's how they met. Jingjun later asked Yoonjae's mother about Professor Park's connection to Jingjun, but she coldly told him not to pry into others' private affairs. Just then, Mary appeared and waved him over, telling him that Professor Park was not his father. Back home, Xiaolan cried to Jingjun, saying she had wrongly judged Yoonjae, and Jingjun, though surprised, sincerely congratulated her. Around this time, Yoonjae's father visited the hospital to see Jingjun's body. The nurse told Jingjun, and he rushed to the room, but his father had already left. Meanwhile, Yoonjae's mother invited Xiaolan to meet, intending to offer her a gift as a future daughter-in-law, but Xiaolan refused, saying she wasn't worthy. The mother assumed Xiaolan was trying to provoke her, but Xiaolan tearfully admitted she had always felt inferior and had even doubted Yoonjae once. Yoonjae's mother said that if Xiaolan truly understood her place, then she should leave Yoonjae while she still could. That night, when Yoonjae's father returned to the hotel, he told his wife that he had seen Jingjun and insisted that both Yoonjae and he needed to visit him. Even if she refused to go, at the very least, she should allow Yoonjae to see his brother. But the mother, stone-faced, declared that since it was Yoonjae who had saved Jingjun in the accident, now they were even. Then she delivered an ultimatum. He had to choose between the two sides, leaving him in painful conflict. Later, Xiaolan's family went on a camping trip. Her mother enthusiastically invited Jingjun to come along, but Jingjun and Xiaolan were in the middle of a Cold War, so he bluntly refused. On the way, just as Xiaolan's family tried to contact, said no, but the truth was he had secretly gone to get the report alone, and what he discovered left him shaken to the core. Back at the camping site, when Jingjun saw the message from Xiaolan's family inviting him, he was overjoyed and immediately packed his bag with a big grin on his face. When he showed up, Xiaolan was completely surprised, while her entire family had already snuck away, leaving the two of them alone in their romantic little world. Meanwhile, Xiaolan's father visited Jingjun's uncle's restaurant and saw a photo of Jingjun's mother. He introduced himself as Jingjun's real father and said he wanted to take his son home to care for him. Later, he got into a heated argument with Yoonjae's mother and insisted she come with him to visit Jingjun in the hospital. At that very moment, while camping, Jingjun suddenly collapsed and his soul returned to his original body. In a daze, he saw visions of his mom and dad by his side. When Xiaolan found him, he said softly that maybe his soul was finally leaving, and then he passed out in her arms. When he opened his eyes again, he was back in the tent, lying beside Xiaolan, whispering to himself that even though he wasn't Yoonjae, borrowing his body gave him a new life. He gained Yoonjae's parents, met Xiaolan's lovely family, and if one day he had to return to being just Jiang Jingjun, he hoped Xiaolan would still remember him. Xiaolan, who had been silently awake beside him, couldn't hold back her tears. The next day, Mary received a message from Jingjun's father, asking to meet at the hospital. Just as they were about to greet each other and confirm identities, Jingjun suddenly fainted. His father took him for an examination, and when asked whether he had recently visited Jingjun in the hospital, he nervously denied it. He also told the doctors to keep the test results confidential and to inform him immediately of any findings. On Jingjun's birthday, Xiaolan chose a wristwatch as a gift and engraved the letters KKJ on it. Coincidentally, Jinlian saw this and pointed out that KKJ clearly had nothing to do with Yoonjae. Later, at a cafe, Xiaolan took off her wedding ring and placed it into a cup. Again, Jinlian witnessed the whole thing and was extremely suspicious. Meanwhile, Yoonjae's medical results showed that an illness from his childhood had relapsed and he now needed a hematopoietic stem cell donor. Fortunately, Jingjun's body was still in the hospital, but the issue was, it hadn't woken up. On the other side, Jinlian, mistakenly thinking Xiaolan was having an affair, quickly met with Jingjun and told him about the strange gift and the ring being removed. Hearing this, Jingjun lit up with joy like a 180-pound child, realizing that 19-year-old Jiang Jingjun had finally won over his homeroom teacher. Xiaolan scolded him for seducing her, appearing everywhere, singing, giving flowers. No wonder her heart had started to waver. Meanwhile, Mary overheard Jinlian talking with Yoonjae's dad. Once Jinlian left, Mary chased after her to confirm whether the texts were indeed from Jingjun's father. Realizing the truth, she promised to keep it secret, but deep down, she believed Jingjun had been hurt enough and she had her own plans. Later, when Jingjun and Xiaolan returned home, she gave him the birthday gift. Jingjun excitedly showed her the KKJ engraving on the watch and told her it was exactly 1010. He snapped his fingers like a hypnotist and told her she had to remember this time because it would always remind her of him twice a day, every day, 1010. Mary, hiding nearby, overheard everything. The next next day, Shangji noticed his sister's ring was missing. Mary urged him to find it quickly. She hoped the ring would remind Xiaolan that she only belonged to Yunjie and that Jingjun should be hers alone. The search began, but the ring was nowhere to be found. Mary told Xiaolan she had found Jingjun's father, but he was just a child, so she needed Xiaolan's help to confirm. Xiaolan agreed without hesitation, not knowing that Mary's real intention was to separate her from Jingjun. Now, hypnotized by Jingjun's 10-10 spell, Xiaolan started hallucinating. When Jingjun suddenly appeared, she immediately said she had to find the ring. Jingjun rushed after her. Unexpectedly, Shangji was also nearby looking for the ring, and he overheard their conversation. His face froze in shock. His sister was cheating on Yunjie with someone named KKJ. When their parents found out their daughter was messing around, they were furious. Xiaolan's father brought the police to arrest her. She was quickly taken away in a squad car and locked in a small detention room. Her father righteously told her to reflect on her actions. Soon, Jingjun arrived and declared that he too was involved in an affair, and just like that, the two of them were locked up together. But instead of panicking, they held hands and started talking about love, even admiring the room's decoration and joking that they'd design their future home like this. Xiaolan slept peacefully. Meanwhile, Mary bought a ring identical to the original, hoping to use it to push Xiaolan back into Yunjie's arms. But Shangji believed his sister only wanted to return the ring to officially end things with Yunjie. Mary was furious and stormed off. Just then, Jingjun and Xiaolan returned home. Xiaolan said she wanted to be honest with Yunjie about everything and apologize. The two exchanged sweet banter and then hugged each other tightly. Mary once again could only hide in the shadows, tears streaming down her face. The next day, Mary asked Xiaolan to meet her at a restaurant with Jingjun's father. As she was leaving, she asked if Xiaolan had found the ring. Xiaolan said, "Not yet." Mary promised to help and walked off, her eyes burning with jealousy. Then she arranged a surprise meeting between Xiaolan, Jingjun's father, and herself. It was all part of her plan. Meanwhile, Yunjie's mother learned that his illness had returned and was overwhelmed with worry. Jingjun's father said they should first meet Jingjun's legal guardian, while Yunjie's mother secretly met with Jinlian, who was now Jingjun's attending physician. She begged her to schedule the surgery soon and said it was lucky that Jingjun's body was still in the hospital. But Jinlian explained that they couldn't extract stem cells without the guardian's consent. Yunjie's mother insisted they were Jingjun's real parents and promised Jingjun's uncle would be informed. When Jinlian tried to tell Yunjie the truth, his mother stopped her. She didn't want Yunjie to know that Jingjun was actually his younger brother. She begged Jinlian to keep this a secret. Meanwhile, a coworker asked Yunjie if he had read his full-body examination report, told his colleague that his father would read the report, but they encouraged him to check it himself. Jingjun then went to the hospital director and learned that Yunjie's illness had relapsed and that his father had already found a hematopoietic stem cell donor. Meanwhile, Jinlian prepared to inject a stimulator into Jingjun's original body, and to her surprise, the body reacted. Jingjun, arriving at the hospital room, overheard a conversation between Jinlian and his mother, and that's when he discovered the shocking truth. He was Yunjie's biological younger brother, and the real reason he had been born was to save Yunjie's life. Devastated, he wandered off in a daze. At the same time, Xiaolan went to the restaurant and learned from Jingjun's father that Yunjie and Jingjun were actually twin brothers, and he hoped she could persuade Yunjie to cooperate and accept the surgery. But Mary lied to Jingjun, saying Xiaolan had known the truth all along, that Yunjie's father was also Jingjun's father and had just been pretending to be unaware for Yunjie's sake. Jingjun couldn't believe it at first, but Mary fanned the flames further, claiming Xiaolan had only been acting normal to protect Yunjie. Driven by doubt, Jingjun rushed to his parents' hotel to confirm whether Xiaolan had truly met his father. When Xiaolan returned home, Mary told her that Jingjun already knew everything and scolded her for breaking their promise not to fall for him. Mary said that if Jingjun was willing to donate his stem cells, everything could go back to normal. She then pulled out the matching ring she had secretly bought and told Xiaolan to lie to Jingjun, say she had known the truth all along, then break up with him, so both brothers could accept their treatment or else both of them would die. For the sake of the two men she had once loved, Xiaolan agreed to the lie. Jingjun's mother met Xiaolan again and pleaded with her to convince Yunjie to undergo surgery. But Xiaolan set a condition. She wanted the mother to confess to Jingjun in person and promise to make it up to him for a lifetime. The mother dismissed her, saying she didn't need to worry about Jingjun because Yunjie was the priority. But Xiaolan interrupted and said, "No, Jingjun is the priority." Only then would she be willing to persuade Yunjie to do the surgery, and the mother reluctantly agreed. Xiaolan then arranged a dinner meeting where the mother sincerely apologized to Jingjun and promised to compensate him. But the soul inside Yunjie's body, Jingjun, didn't accept her apology. Then the father revealed the ultimate truth. Yunjie and Jingjun were monozygotic twins, born 12 years apart. If their birth order had been reversed, the mother would have had Jingjun instead. But Jingjun bitterly replied that fate had already decided. Yunjie was always the chosen one and he was just a backup. He then said this time Yunjie could wait for him and walked out of the restaurant. Soon, he visited his uncle and, through their emotional conversation, learned that his birth mother, Shishu, hadn't given birth to him for money, but out of love for his father. His uncle angrily recounted the hardships his sister had endured for love, and Jingjun realized his parents had used his mother's love to create him in the name of saving Yoonjae, destroying her life in the process. Overwhelmed, he went to a bar to drink, but Xiaolan found him and told him to stop acting like a child. Jingjun declared that he was the one who should have been the priority, and all he wanted was Xiaolan's support, but she gently reminded him that the only way to save both brothers was for him to undergo surgery. Feeling unsupported, Jingjun made a bold decision. He returned to the hospital and personally injected the stimulator into his own body. Jinlian later confirmed they could harvest the stem cells next week. Jingjun met with his parents and agreed to the treatment, but insisted on going to Germany, where his father worked, to do the surgery. The father agreed, and the mother even asked Xiaolan to go with him, but Jingjun declined. He wanted to go alone. The next day, he drove himself to the airport while the hospital began preparing for the stem cell procedure. Xiaolan begged his mother to let her stay by Jingjun's side. The mother asked if Yoonjae's surgery would wake Jingjun, and Xiaolan firmly said yes, and pleaded with her not to run anymore, but to treat Jingjun sincerely. Jingjun arrived at the airport where Mary was already waiting to accompany him, but he told her that he wouldn't go through with their plan. Not only was he refusing to fly, he was planning to disappear with Yoonjae's body, leaving them all in panic and misery. Mary desperately tried to talk him out of it and quickly called Xiaolan. Upon learning the truth, Xiaolan rushed to the airport and intercepted him just in time. After giving up his escape, Jingjun took out Yoonjae's cherished book and asked his father to explain its secret. The father admitted that although he had drawn the pictures, it was Jingjun's birth mother, Si-Chyu, who had asked Professor Park to create the book as a gift for Jingjun's 18th birthday. Jingjun went straight to Professor Park, who explained that the book was meant to reunite Jingjun with his family. These words struck a deep chord in Jingjun, and he began sorting through everything that had happened. He concluded that if his soul returned to his body, he would lose all memory of the accident and everything that followed. The next day, as the stem cells were extracted, Yoonjae's body began to react. When Jingjun grasped the hand of his original body, he fainted. Suddenly, he found himself face to face with Yoonjae's soul. Just as they prepared to switch back, they heard Xiaolan's voice calling out to them, and Jingjun woke up. Now pretending to have no memory of the car accident, he asked Mary to explain everything that had happened. When his mother came to hug him, Mary said it seemed Jingjun truly had no memory. But Xiaolan suspected he was pretending and began testing him in different ways. Jingjun kept denying it and said he had no idea what she was talking about. Later, he found Mary and asked her that after the surgery, once the soul switched back, she must never let him see Xiaolan again and must keep all memories of this time a secret. Mary promised. As the date of Jingjun's surgery abroad approached, Xiaolan decided not to go with him, leaving her father confused. She made a firm choice. At the joint family dinner, she would officially end her relationship with Yoonjae. She told Jingjun not to attend, promising she'd handle it herself. But that evening, Jingjun showed up at her school gate and took her to the place where their accident happened. He told her that if the soul switched back, she would forget everything that had happened since. He also said that maybe Yoonjae's soul hadn't woken up all this time because it wanted her memories to stay frozen right there. Then, he adjusted the wristwatch she gave him to 10:10, just like before, and, although he couldn't bear to do it, tossed it into the river, hoping to return everything to where it all began. Jingjun didn't want Xiaolan to become another unlucky person like her father, and after he left, Xiaolan began recalling every moment they had shared. Wearing 18-centimeter high heels and ignoring everything else, she rushed straight into the river, using her freshly done nails to dig through the mud in search of the watch engraved with KKJ. A determined woman is truly terrifying. She searched from daylight into the night, and finally, Xiaolan found the watch. Meanwhile, Jingjun went to the family dinner and announced he had something to say on Xiaolan's behalf. He said he would still go abroad for the surgery and promised to come back and be with Xiaolan afterward. Just then, Xiaolan, soaking wet and with her hair in disarray, burst into the restaurant. In front of both families, she tearfully confessed her love for KKJ. Jingjun quickly dragged her outside and asked if she was crazy, but Xiaolan said that even if he lost all his memories, she would never forget their time together. She handed him the recovered watch, and when Jingjun saw it, he was stunned. Xiaolan said she would always treasure this miracle, and Jingjun, eyes full of tears, hugged her tightly. His mother, seeing Jingjun's original body still unconscious in the hospital, finally softened. Her heart ached for him. When Xiaolan returned home nervously, her mother told her to go to her room and then began recalling how she had shaved her mother's head just to marry Xiaolan's father. She tossed their wedding photo to Xiaolan and asked if she really wanted to end up the same way. Xiaolan said yes because she truly loved KKJ and didn't want to lie to herself. Her mother, furious, raised her hand, but Xiaolan's firm stance left her defeated. Meanwhile, Mary brought 4 bodyguards to the hospital, determined to take Jingjun's body away, believing Xiaolan had broken their promise by falling in love with the person she loved most, Jingjun. At that moment, Jingjun was with his mother, but when his father discovered the body was missing, he immediately called her. Jingjun jumped into a car and gave chase, calling Mary. Mary told him that until her body woke up, no one would see it, not even Jingjun, nor would she let him see Xiaolan. She said she was the one who truly loved him. Jingjun, seeing she was this obsessed, told her maybe he'd never switch back and would just stay in Yoonjae's body. Mary cried that if that happened, she would die. Jingjun left the decision to her. In the end, Mary gave in. Once Jingjun's body was returned to the hospital, his mother held his hand, full of heartbreak. Mary continued insisting that Xiaolan should be with Yoonjae, and Jingjun should be with her. But Jingjun said it wasn't Xiaolan's fault. Mary always made decisions on her own. Angry, Mary took out the ring Yoonjae had bought and reminded him of Yoonjae's love for Xiaolan, saying he would be heartbroken if he ever woke up. That night, Mary came to Xiaolan's house, saw the dumpling filling, and got another mischievous idea. She called Xiaolan out and claimed that the ring Xiaolan had left in the restaurant during her confession hadn't been taken by Yoonjae's parents. She accused Xiaolan of betraying Yoonjae and insisted she return the ring to him personally. When Xiaolan asked where the ring was, Mary smirked and said she had thrown it into the dumpling filling, which was nearly impossible to find. Desperately, Xiaolan searched through the filling and even unwrapped already folded dumplings. Her father said some had already been sent out for delivery, and Xiaolan dashed outside but was too late. Perhaps sensing something, Yoonjae's body shed a tear and his heartbeat began to rise. At that moment, Jingjun arrived and held his hand, and the heartbeat returned to normal. On the way home, Jingjun spotted Xiaolan across the street and called her. She said she was still searching for something. Then Jingjun held up the ring. As he prepared for his surgery abroad, he sat down with his mother. She had noted all his likes and hobbies, and seeing her effort, Jingjun smiled sincerely. Later, he ran into Jinlian and sincerely apologized for being rude before. He even admitted that when she first touched his hand, he found it really sexy. In their final meeting, Jingjun told Xiaolan that even if he lost all memory, she had to hold on to him no matter how difficult he became, and tell him exactly how she felt in that moment, so they could return to this instant of love. With that, he left for surgery abroad. 1 year later, Xiaolan visited the house where Jingjun had once stayed. On the bus, she looked at her watch. It was exactly 10:10. As she stepped off, a man appeared. Some fans asked, what happened to Yoonjae's soul? What about Jingjun's body? The director never answered, leaving it to the audience's imagination. Some guessed that Jingjun's body deteriorated and couldn't be saved, while Yoonjae's body recovered, meaning Jingjun's soul remained in Yoonjae's body. Others believed that the two souls merged, and the final man we see is Yoonjae, carrying both sets of memories. Or perhaps Jingjun's body did wake up, but he lost all memory of the accident. Which ending do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. And with that, the drama, True Love in the Wrong Voice, comes to a close. Thank you for subscribing and liking. I'm Yang Cheng. See you in the next drama. It all began with a devastating car crash that caused the soul of an 18-year-old student to enter the body of a 30-year-old man. Could the Reaper have made a mistake? After being rushed to the hospital, the 30-year-old was pronounced dead, but in the morgue, he suddenly woke up, staring in horror at his sculpted abs. This wasn't his body. His name was Yoonjae, a composed and authoritative doctor engaged to a teacher named Xiaolan. What no one expected was that the soul now inside her fiancé's body belonged to her student Jingjun, who had just transferred back from the US. Though only 18, the orphaned Jingjun was far more mature than his peers and had inherited a huge fortune. At the time of the accident, Yoonjae and Xiaolan's wedding was less than a month away, yet he always used work as an excuse to avoid her. He skipped shopping for the wedding bed and even left Xiaolan to pick the new house alone. One day, Xiaolan couldn't take it anymore and asked if he proposed out of duty. She said if he didn't love her, they didn't have to marry, then sadly hung up. And all of it was overheard by Jingjun. Xiaolan immediately regretted hanging up the phone, and just as she was about to call Yoonjae to explain, Jingjun snatched her phone away and took her out for a ride on his motorcycle to lift her mood. When they arrived at their destination, Xiaolan thanked Jingjun for taking her out and stopping her from calling Yoonjae. She even taught him how to sing. But suddenly, her phone rang. It was a call from Yoonjae. She apologized to him and asked whether he truly loved her. Yoonjae said he wanted to meet and tell her in person. Excited, Xiaolan quickly told him where she was. Jingjun, realizing it wasn't his place anymore, quietly left. Yoonjae was driving toward her, and Jingjun happened to be on the same road. Suddenly, a meteor streaked across the sky, catching both their attention. But just at that moment, a black sedan lost control trying to overtake another car and caused an accident. Both Yoonjae and Jingjun swerved hard to avoid it, and their vehicles plunged into the river. They were rushed to the hospital. When Xiaolan was told Yoonjae couldn't be saved, she broke down in tears. She loved him more than she loved herself. But when Jingjun came out of the emergency room alive, Xiaolan was stunned. She ran up to him, crying, calling him Yoonjae and hugging him tightly. But Jingjun, equally shocked, pushed her away and insisted he was Jingjun. Xiaolan was confused. How did Yoonjae know Jingjun? Jingjun explained that he had gotten into a car accident and somehow woke up like this. Xiaolan confirmed that Yoonjae had indeed been in an accident, and it dawned on Jingjun that the body he was in was Xiaolan's fiancé. Xiaolan then had him do a full body check and asked if he remembered what he was going to say before they were supposed to meet. Without thinking, Jingjun began singing the song Xiaolan had taught him, leaving her speechless. Later, Jingjun went to the hospital room where his real body was lying in a coma. The doctors had no idea when it would wake up. As he stood there, a trolley passed by, smearing red ink on his hand, reminding him of the scene where his mother was killed. The memory hit hard, and Jingjun was filled with pain. Xiaolan's still believed the body in front of her was Yoonjae until she overheard a conversation between the doctors and Jingjun's uncle. She started thinking about what Jingjun had said earlier. First, she went to Yoonjae's home to look for him, then rushed to his workplace hospital, but couldn't find him. Finally, using Jingjun's home address, she found him asleep in his room. Oh my god, her fiance's soul had really disappeared. She quickly pulled Jingjun back to the hospital, saying they had to switch souls. Jingjun said no one would ever believe them and would just think they were crazy. Then he reenacted the whole soul swap process for Xiaolan, who was still in disbelief. Jingjun guessed that Yoonjae's soul had entered the wrong body, which caused his own to get pulled into Yoonjae's. Xiaolan insisted Yoonjae was far too careful to make that kind of mistake. Jingjun replied that regardless, they had to wake up his real body first if they ever wanted to switch back.